Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast, aka the Pup List. This is our first takeaway of the season, and we're getting together right now. This is Tuesday, August 26th. It is around 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 2 hours ish after the Packers released their 53-man initial roster. We finally got the release. So I think it was 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, but they finally, about an hour later, got it going. And as I think Rennie likes to tweet and to point out, they're always the last ones to kind of like divulge anything. So it's like, all right, Packers, let's go. Here we go. Here we go. Even yesterday, the watch, right? Nothing happened. And then today, crickets, a couple things here and there. And then people started to kind of release some things per sources. And then, boom, about 4 o'clock, they finally put everything out there for the public. But Ren, let's pour a glass of beer and let's get into this. How you feel right now about the 53? Any surprises? We can go right down the list here from quarterback to special teams, but let me get what's off the top of your head right away.
Um, Again, Tay, there's nothing here that surprised me. Kind of pegged the Isaiah Simmons one. That wouldn't surprise me. Indeed, it happened. Isaiah Simmons unfortunately can't play defense in a pinch, which I thought meant Christian Welch is going to get a roster spot. And in fact, he too was released. We'll see if he makes his way back to the practice squad. I don't know. I mean, he's a fair player who can play linebacker in a pinch, unlike Isaiah. The Mecole Hardman thing didn't really surprise me, Tay. Apparently, he did lose his job with that performance against the Jets in the preseason. That was an awful performance, and he really didn't do much there forward to really cement himself a roster spot over a guy like Malik Heath, Tay. Little surprised they kept four tight ends. I will say that. That one kind of surprised me. Also surprised about, Micah Robinson. I know he's a draft pick this year, making the team over Kalen King. Micah did not have a good preseason/training camp today, so surprised there a little bit. We'll see if Kalen makes his way back to the practice squad. I believe that is tomorrow. I don't know, by 11 a.m. I want to say they can start forming that practice squad piece, and by that I mean they and everybody else in the NFL. So there's going to be a lot of transaction stuff that takes place. And there's some reasonable names from the MVSs of the world and others that were cut by other teams. Some other wide receivers out there that might go.
MVNU.
Would the Packers have interest? I don't think so. I mean, what you saw with the 6 wide receivers that did make the team, I think gives Packer fans a lot of hope at this point that guys are going to be ready week one. I mean, that's the big thing when you see the 6 wide receivers on the roster. It seems like Jaden Reed's going to be ready week one, Dontavian Wicks, et cetera, because they didn't get injury designations. Did see, with regard to the pup list, not surprising that Colin Oliver and John Williams, not the composer, get pupped. I mean, those guys were non-existent throughout preseason and training camp, so no surprises there. Omar Brown, Tay, he was put on injury reserve, but not with the designation. So his 2025 with the Green Bay Packers is done.
Yep.
Means they'll have to come to some kind of injury settlement, I would believe. That's coming down the line. A couple interesting things. Obviously, they brought in Darian Kennard with the trade of a 2027 sixth round draft pick, looking to bolster that offensive line depth piece, which is kind of an issue. And we went into the beginning of training camp going, wow, they got a lot of depth on this old line today. And then suddenly they didn't. I am surprised with a designation to return like Marshawn Lloyd, who's going on IR. He can return. But that Jacob Monk was one of those guys. I don't know. Obviously, I don't believe he counts against the 53, Tay. The way that thing sets up, you could tell me that that's not right.
He doesn't. No, he's not on the 53.
So, but the fact that they want to keep him surprises me. I know there was a tackle with the Chiefs that the Packers could really have some interest in that was released. I believe the Chargers also released a tackle slash multiverse offensive lineman that certainly could, interest the Packers as well. And it's just kind of surprising they made the trade when some of these other guys potentially were out there to bring in with some decent depth on the O line. So there are guys out there as they decide to do this, and how they formulate the final roster, because we know the initial 53 is going to shake up a little bit over the next few days. There'll be another release or two as they slot in guys. Maybe they are able to get on waivers onto their roster, their 53, and then guys they want in the practice squad. And they're not only their guys, but maybe somebody else's. So the quarterback piece with Elgersma and Clifford doesn't surprise me at all. Likely we'd see one back with the practice squad, but they could go in a completely different direction. We know last year, obviously out of the blue, Malik Willis is suddenly a Green Bay Packer. They get that done kind of right around this time and bring him in. And what a boon that was when Jordan goes out. So, again, no real surprises. Again, the tight end, 4 of them kind of surprised me. The inside linebacker piece with, I believe, just 4 is a little bit surprising. I know they're high on Hopper, who had a great preseason in camp, and you kind of, combine him with Edgerrin Cooper and the other couple guys there with McDuffie, and I'm missing a guy here, Tay, help me out, with the 4th middle linebacker, obviously Quay Walker. So that's their 4, and good 4, but surprising Welch didn't make it. But no real big surprises there. Again, the Simmons thing, I just think everybody saw the writing on the wall. Yeah, he's a great special teams guy, but if he can't do much for you outside of that, you can find other guys that can and bring a little bit more depth to your football team. So that's my quick Ren's rant. You asked, and you got 6 minutes out of me on a first take. So give me your kind of first takes, Tay, on anything that maybe caught your eye or gave you a moment of pause on this thing.
Only 2, and I'll point them out as I go through that. But just for the Packers sickos out there, I'll run through the roster real quick once here, and then I'll point out my 2 that I was like, about. Well, obviously quarterback Love and Willis releasing Clifford and Elgersma. Everyone saw that coming. The running back position, obviously Jacobs, Wilson, and Brooks. Marshawn Lloyd goes on the PUP list, on the injured reserve with designation to return. This is like a mirror image of last season, Ren. It just kind of sucks, but we're not going to see Marshawn Lloyd till at least the 4th or the 5th week of the season at minimum. I just really wish this running back room looked a little different going into this season than last season, but whatever, this is what we have. I like what we have out of Chris Brooks. Wilson is good too, but I was kind of expecting one of those to not make the team because Lloyd was going to be present, but that's not the case. The other 3, you might see those guys come back to the practice squad. We'll see. Wide receiver room.
Yeah, the Amar Johnsons of the world. I mean, obviously interesting guy throughout preseason, but I don't think anybody's like clamoring to get him on the roster. So certainly a P squad kind of guy.
Wide receiver, obviously Dobbs, Reed, Wicks, Golden, Savion Williams with Christian on the PUP list. And then they keep Malik Heath, which I thought was actually interesting. And I guess like they just thought he was better overall for what they were going for with their team. They release Mecole Hardman, which I understand. I guess I was one of those holdouts that was like, no, he's making the team just like as that last guy with veteran experience in case they need that. But I guess they are moving in a different direction. Maybe he lands on the practice squad, but he's probably gone for good. And
I would guess so. Yeah, there are a lot of teams with some receiver issues. You're going to see a lot of these receivers that were released from the MVSs, Hunter Renfro's and other guys throughout their league that, and Mecole Hardman that, a guy can do some great kick return, punt return stuff, Tay. And that's the one thing I agree with you. Like, what does Heath really bring? I mean, do you have to play him? Hardman can do that. Heath can't. I guess he's been in the Packer system, so why not? But
yeah, exactly.
I agree with you.
Tight end, obviously Kraft, Musgrave, who has been turning it on late in camp. John Fitzpatrick and Ben Sims. Those are strange to me too, Ren. Like you said, you don't understand why they kept 4. I don't either, especially when they kept Savion Williams, who's kind of like that big-bodied H-back who might be able to play fullback and play tight end. Keeping 4, I guess they're looking at special teams here. They really must be focused on that. I don't understand kind of what they're going for, but maybe we'll see. And this is obvious, I think, to a lot of diehard Packers sickos out there. But some of these people will be released tomorrow, and they'll pick up other guys or put them on injured reserve, or they'll do a lot of work over here in the next 24 hours. And you might see a guy like Ben Sims get cut. I don't know. We'll see. But 4 tight ends, yeah, a little strange when still to this date that position is kind of underutilized for the Packers. So why keep 4? I don't know.
And Matt LaFleur talks about it. I mean, they love the 2 tight end set. And obviously, finally, it seems like, Musgrave got healthy in the offseason. He's put on some bulk and some, strength. And hopefully he's going to have a healthy season and they can do that. But again, a 4th, when is that guy going to make a bigger difference than potentially a Kalen King, where they're thin in that cornerback room? It just kind of was a bit quizzical to me on that one.
Offensive line, they keep 9: Jenkins, Banks, Tom, Walker, and Ryan. Those are probably your starters. And then you have Morgan, Belton, the rookie, and Darian Kinnard, who they just traded for, and then Donovan Jennings. This is the one I was like, really? They picked Jennings over a Telford?
Telford? Yeah, I think that's a bit of a surprise. I think Telford had a good camp, and I would have guessed he would have made the roster. I really would have. But again, there's some quality talent out there on the waiver wire with regard to backup offensive linemen.
And maybe with a couple of these ones that we question, maybe their plan is, well, we hope that they clear waivers, we can sign them to the practice squad or get them back in one way or another down the road. And I think that, to me, that's one of them. Telford's a big dude, and
he's a big man.
I think that I would have chosen him over Donovan Jennings any day.
Speaking of big men, Tay, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
For the 21st year, there's one of the things I wanted to point out in my little rant there up front when you gave me time to run. But for the 21st year, another UDFA makes the team in Green Bay, and that's the big sleepy Nazir Stackhouse. And I think most of Packer Universe is pretty excited to see Nazir make the team, along with his teammate Will Brinson. So both those guys are on the current roster. So, some props we'll give, 90s style to Nazir for breaking through as, another UDFA and on making the roster out of camp. So pretty cool.
And on the D tackle too, then obviously Clark, Wyatt, Brooks, and Wooden, those are kind of our staple guys. And then Brinson, the rookie, and then Stackhouse, the undrafted free agent. I like that. I like it a lot. I think that another thing I wanted to point out, I'm kind of using this, what the Packers released on their website, packers.com, and I find it interesting. I think that this is revealing the depth chart too. They're actually putting who they think are starters ahead of the list, so you can kind of see, if you want to go look at that. And I'm kind of reading them off that way too. I think this is your depth chart right now too, so you can kind of, if you were wondering at all about, like, we'll get to the cornerbacks in a minute, but that'll be prevalent there. But let's do linebackers quick. Inside linebacker Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Duffy, and Tay Ren Hopper. No problems there. They do release Christian Welch, which is, yes, I agree, kind of like, okay, well, I guess they don't need him on special teams. And so maybe he's coming back tomorrow. We'll see. But, do they need more than 5 inside linebackers? I don't know. But maybe, Welch would have been great on special teams. But we'll see what happens tomorrow with that. The DNs, the rushers, we have obviously Gary, Van Ness, Kingsley Enibare, JJ Enibare, Brenton Cox Jr., and Baron Sorrell. That's a no-brainer. Mosby, I think, is the one I'd be like, where was he? Like, couldn't they fit him in somewhere? but I
Possibly. I
guess
mean, a guy like Deslin Alexander too had a very good training camp.
yeah.
But those guys are kind of like, hey, get him on the practice squad if you can.
Hmm.
Nothing serious to get overly excited or bummed about. I think both those guys could easily find their way back.
Cornerback, then Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Bo Melton, and Kamal Hayden and Micah Robinson, the rookie. I find this interesting that Bo Melton's listed fourth ahead of the two, I guess one's a rookie and one's a second year. I think those guys are fine, and I'm glad they're going young. I think they see talent in those guys. But Bull Mountain making the switch, making the roster as like number 4 on your CB depth chart, that's crazy to me. Obviously, Kalen King and Corey Ballantyne got the axe. We'll see if those guys come back in any way, shape, or form. Maybe practice squad for Kalen King. I don't know about Corey Ballantyne. He seems like he would just bounce out if they didn't make him on the practice squad. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, again, it's like, do you like that room right now, the cornerback room?
I mean, how much do we like it beyond the first 3-4 guys anyway?
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
you get past 3 and you go, the depth gets really shallow really quick. So give it to Bo. But we talked about that all the way back in mini camp, and that they want to find a way anyway for Bo to make the team. He's consummate professional and teammate, and he works hard, and he's made the switch admirably. Obviously, his brother plays a position in the NFL, had a decent preseason, did well in coverage, had a pass breakup. So they like the energy and the ability to work from Bo and over a lot of other guys. And again, when you look at how thin they were there anyway, I say, sure, go with it with Bo. So,
and I have no problem with Micah Robinson being on the roster. They must see something in him, but that would be, I guess I kind of defaulted to, they'll cut him, they'll try to get him on the practice squad, and then they'll, reintroduce him later on sometime and keep a guy like Corey Ballantyne, who knows the system and is kind of like been a veteran option for you. I guess that's what I was looking for, but I guess I'm a little surprised by that. But I don't, what do I know? And we'll see if that shakes out. But the cornerback room, I guess, again, is a little thin. And we'll see what happens. Sometimes it works out. A couple years ago, it worked out great for them, being young and inexperienced. But yeah, just got to root for them, and hopefully, they do their job well enough, and maybe the defensive ends get to the quarterback fast, and you don't have to worry about it. The safety
makes their
position,
job a lot easier.
Yeah.
That front line can do their job without a doubt.
Van Ness would just Van Ness and Gary would just get to the quarterback, but that's a discussion for some other time. McKinney, safety, Williams, Bullard, Zane Anderson, and Keaton Oladapo. Love that. Obviously, Amar Brown, you talked about on the injury reserve. We won't see him again. And then the other two guys are just kind of camp bodies. Special teams, obviously McManus, Whelan, and Orzic, who got the big extension today. I guess reportedly he's the highest paid long snapper in the league. I think it's 3-year extension, totaling a total around $4.8 million. Congratulations, Matthew. Hopefully you'll be hiking the ball to both those guys, punter and kicker McManus and Whelan, for the next 3 years plus. Well, maybe not McManus. Who knows how long he'll be around, but that's great. Lock him in. Might as well. We always have that guy on a position ever since the 90s, so who cares? But yeah, congratulations, Matt.
Well, I think McManus, and we know he's just been money today, and it's the best position they've been in with the kicker position in some years. And this goes back to even when Mason, Buddy Mason Crosby, was on the roster the last couple of years he was there. He was not quite the Mason Crosby that he was the years prior. And McManus is everything you wish for, and he did sign the extension in free agency with the Packers, I believe a 3-year deal, Tay. So he's going to be right there lockstep with Matt Orzic, and good on him. Getting that kind of money as a long snapper, that's what you get paid for. Man, that's a good living if you can get it. And obviously, Danny Whelan, I mean, that is one group, the defense special team group. Those guys are phenomenal, 1, 2, 3, and nothing to worry about there as long as they stay healthy. You've got a heck of a unit.
So nice, so nice. It feels good. So, like we kind of said before, a lot of beat writers and people out there are saying, the over the next 24 hours, we're going to see some action. So, some of these guys that got cut, you might see back on the team, tomorrow or maybe in a couple weeks or whatever before the season starts. Not sure, but like Corey Ballantyne, I think, Kalen King, Aaron Mosby, Kadeem Telfort, those are the four. I'm like
Deslin Alexander.
Yeah, like they could have made
Cornelius
the roster.
Johnson, the wide receiver. I know a lot of people liked him in preseason. A guy like that. There'll be a number of guys, familiar faces that were in camp. I know they talk about, when you go from, the 90 to the 53, you're talking about just about 48 guys per team that get cut today, about 1,100 some players.
Yeah.
But then by tomorrow, 16, 17 guys per team, do get practice squad contracts. And I think the minimum contract, if I heard today, nowadays, as opposed to some years ago, is around $250,000 during the season. And depending on your years of service, it goes up from there. So there can be guys on the practice squad, say, earning $500,000. So it's not a bad living. You can get it, and then you get activated, and you can get more money with those activation bonuses. So not bad. So you'll see, again, a lot more movement tomorrow as teams shuffle. And Ben Sims, don't get comfortable. That's all I'm saying.
Right on. Well, Ren, that's all I've got. I don't know if you got any more to add. I guess really quickly, I went to the game on Saturday. It was a blast. Had a lot of good time there. Just love being in Lambeau. I mean, that the beginning of the game when you're in the bowl, the crowd is all there. Everyone's seated, wants to see the game, gets excited that national anthems kick in. Like that is where it's at. I love that stuff. Maybe that might be the only time I go to the game, but this year we'll see. But
you never know. Another Tay and Ren set late in the season. We could be taking one in. Who knows? I've got to, and a lot of people don't want to go late in the season, and why not go get cold for a few hours and take in the Green Bay Packers? Hopefully, if we are able to do that, they're still in the mix, playing for something. But Tay, it's certainly an interesting day, but nothing out of the ordinary. I'm glad you got to do that on your birthday. I got to go to Milwaukee the following day for the Bob Uecker Celebration of Life and the game, and that was a great time that I got to take in. Love Bob. He was the soundtrack of my life and many others in Wisconsin for his 54 years. Not quite that old myself, but throughout all my life, been there with me all those summertime. So I was grateful to do that. So I just wanted to share that with folks out there that I had that experience. So.
Nice. Good. Yeah, what a weekend. And I'm feeling pretty good about the Packers roster. From where they started at 90 to now, no big surprises. Let's go. And looking forward to, what is it, like a week and a half, Ren, where we get the
that's it. I mean, that is about a week and a half until those Lions who swept the Packers last year and have kind of had their number the last few years of the LaFleur administration. Time to get back on the winning side of things against the Detroit Lions. And about 10 days, Tay. It's getting serious, and here we go.
Well, we'll be back next week for an episode before that. So look for us there. We'll be live next week, Wednesday probably. And look for us there. Appreciate everyone following. Appreciate everyone watching. Well, Ren, thanks for joining me tonight. Right after this cut down for our first takeaway for the Packers 53-man roster, the initial one at least. So thanks for coming out with me tonight and discussing that. Thanks for everyone for following Packer Universe Podcast.
Yeah, Tay, we got that 53-man ready for a Super Bowl run to Santa Clara. Until next time, Tay, on the pup list.